All right, and welcome back to Nasser Speaks. Today we are going to discuss about diversity in leadership and why it's so important and what is it that we can do to make that happen. Um, Diversity per se, I think is something that cannot be overstated enough. It's not something that we can talk enough about because today when we kind of look back into it, I don't think there is enough buzz about it other than it being a tool, a statement on balanced scorecard tools where we have goals being set about. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is is a really vast topic and an integral piece of our society, of our corporate world, to kind of ensure that there is success that kind of comes across in everything that we do, and there is harmony in everything that we do. So when you look at diversity, today when we talk about diversity, most of the corporate people and corporate leaders will start saying, oh, this is our women to male ratio, or this is our ratio for specially abled people, without actually kind of dwelling into it. What is it that's really coming out of the aspect that you have a diverse team? What is it leading to? And does diversity need to be restricted only when we talk about leadership, or we need to look at diversity from a bigger, larger perspective across teams out there? So that's something that we need to leave as a thought, that we need to kind of leave out there for something for us to look into, think about. Now, what does diversity do for you? For starters, what diversity does for us is it encourages an environment of enhanced innovation and creativity. You've got people coming down from different backgrounds, people coming to you from different perspectives, ideas, things that they have seen. Because diversity is beyond gender. It is beyond our ability. It is the background that we come in, our upbringing, what is our economic background, what is our spiritual background, what is it that we come from, and the places that we've stayed, which are where all have we worked, what all have we seen. Every such aspect is what we actually bring to the table when we talk about diversity. And imagine when you have a team that is there which has a multitude of experiences, then you're bringing all that together, right? You're kind of bringing all that onto the table. And if you are able to, as a leader, create an environment where you inspire people to kind of put across their best, to put across their different ideas. Imagine the platform that sits in front of you in terms of creativity and innovation. I think the abundance of ideas that will come to you will be phenomenal. The second piece is it adds tremendous value into the whole decision-making process. And why do I say that? I say that because what it does for you is you've got now that many more minds with different experiences who are part of your core decision-making table. And they have seen it. And there may be a certain challenge that sits in front of you today that they may have experienced in their past life and may have an idea or a solution towards it, right? So the more diverse your team is in terms of experience, in terms of backgrounds, in terms of gender, in terms of their orientation, the more opportunities sit of you picking their mind and them adding value back to you in terms of the whole process of decision making. What else does diversity do for you? It gives you increased adaptability and resilience, right? it gives you the whole aspect that because you have seen so much and you've seen them differently, as a team, as a leadership, you have each other to make you more agile, to make you more flexible, to make you able to achieve things better as a team, right? It also allows you to be more resilient because you know that you have each other who have different strengths that sit out there for us to help each other in a situation like this. So that's something that again, adds back immensely in terms of value to us. It makes us more adaptable, makes us more resilient as a team, as a leadership going forward. The other aspect that I think which does and which is very, very important is the fact that it gives you enhanced engagement with your team, right? It gives you a different kind of bonding out there because everybody feels included per se, Priya has asked that question, that does diversity only mean balancing a male and female ratio? I think, honestly, Priya, you bring out an important point where this actually is the challenge today, where we kind of talk about diversity only limited to gender ratios. And I said that in the beginning, it's so much larger. It's such a diverse landscape that sits out there for us to kind of work with, for us to grow with out there. So when you have you have diversity in your teams, you will see that your employee engagement is so much more stronger. There is so much that is happening per se with interactions, with celebrations, recognitions. So there'll be a better engagement out there. Now, how do we go about creating a diverse team, especially from a leadership perspective and the core team and at different levels? How do we go about doing that? The first bit that we need to remove are the unconscious biases. Normally, we have certain biases that kind of sit within us. Some are conscious, that we know that we are biased towards, and some are unconscious biases, right? So we need to eliminate both conscious and unconscious biases from a recruitment process perspective. Because see, in the end, there are a lot of people involved in it. And people may have a conscious or unconscious bias that sits with them. So I'm a big fan of bringing in technology, bringing in artificial intelligence, bringing in machine learning as a process of recruitment. So I came across, we have this company, right? We have one of our companies is called Easy Recruit Plus, and whose focus is removing these biases through interviews, through the artificial intelligence models and modules, which brings a larger thing to the table and allows your screening process to become better. But that is one aspect of it. But along with that, as humans, as individuals, we need to see how we are able to eliminate these biases. Second, kind of create an environment in terms of what do you visualize your team as. From a talent strategy perspective, we should have a vision of how our team is going to look, what's it kind of going to be like, and then we need to start building towards it. Third, we need to have a culture that attracts talent from various backgrounds. Without the talent thinking, that is this culture inclusive? Will I have everything available, all the tools given to me, all the support given to me to succeed? That should not even be a thought that comes in their mind. Four, when they are there, ensure that you give them everything to prosper. Create a culture where everyone's prospering. It doesn't matter if the person comes from a village. It doesn't matter they come from another country, what is their religious belief, what is their spiritual belief, what is their gender orientation, what is their sexual orientation. It shouldn't matter to you because all of them are your team, are the leaders that you have. So ensure that there is a culture that kind of builds on that. Then ensure there are mentoring programs there for the team. That's kind of working with them, helping them to build what it is, build the culture that you want, to build skill, to build attitude, to kind of help them grow, help them move forward from that element out there. Training, leadership programs that kind of talk about it. There is not enough that we sometimes speak about diversity. And so how do we talk about it? And this should not be only words. This should not be only something that sits on a paper. It has to be something that there is action to. And that can only happen if you set up a way that you're going to be able to measure it. And this should not be through goals, because then it becomes a number ticking exercise. This should be through measurement of engagement and measurement of outcome and measurement of action. Because one of the things that we do when we put it as a goal, we are demeaning the individuals that you're putting together as a goal. So I'm not a big fan of it, let's say, I need to have X number of this type of leader or this background of leader or this background of employee sitting in my team. I would rather, this is what we would like to achieve through having a diverse team that kind of sits together with us in the think tank to make this outcome possible. And when we are able to do something like that, which is more inclusive, you're also in no way alienating somebody. So yeah, these are a few thoughts that I had regarding the importance of diversity and in leadership, in the workforce, in your teams, to see greater successes coming by. Let's see a couple of questions that have kind of come across. What would be the most important step for an organization to bring diversity in their leadership? I think the first aspect, Sunny, should be that there's a realization of where we stand as a team. Sometimes we don't even have that realization that is there. So the first is the realization that I need to have a diverse team. I as an individual, or I as a certain type, because there is a human attraction towards hiring and recruiting and making a team of people who are very similar to you, right? So we need to kind of eliminate that. So the first step is realization. And second is putting a mechanism in play, a process in play, so that you're able to achieve what you want to kind of do. And measuring it. Is the process going correctly? Are we removing the unconscious biases that are there within our recruitment system? What are we doing to add value to it? What are the systems we are putting in? How are we using technology towards it? These are a few things that come to my mind straight away in terms of as important steps for building diversity in leadership and in teams. Varun's asking, is diversity the same as inclusivity? So diversity is the what, Varun, and inclusivity is the how. They're not the same, because inclusivity is making diversity, the whole approach of diversity happening. So it's the what and the how which form the two elements of the puzzle per se. All right. I'm happy to take any other questions that come by out from you, and would be happy to answer that. And while I wait for that, one of the other things that we can talk about are different leaders and the impact that they've had. So let's take, for example, Jennifer Pritzker. Jennifer Pritzker was a transgender woman leading Tawani Enterprises, and during the leadership tenure made some radical changes that helped Tawani Enterprise do extremely well. You take Satya Nadella, right? A gentleman of Indian origin, goes over and takes over Microsoft and transforms it completely from what it was earlier. When he was taking over, it was a struggling organization, and when he came in, he kind of transformed it completely. Then you have Ginny Rometty, who took over IBM. And during her tenure till 2020, I think it was from 2012 to 2020, she made it the biggest company when it came to cloud and cloud computing. So, there was a lot of change that Ginny brought in. The other day, why look too far off, right? You had Indra Nui doing transformational leadership when it came to Pepsi. You had Kiran Bedi, doing some phenomenal stuff in the system while she was an IPS. So there are many examples that you will kind of come across of how diversity has brought in some great elements to leadership on the whole, and how it has transformed that company from being average, mediocre to great, or even changed it from good to great, or from great to excellent. Shefali is asking is, India is a diverse nation, how can we bring this diversity to our organization? I think, that's the biggest advantage that we have, Shefali. I think we were amongst the few nations today where there was no recession forecasted. There was just a post that I came across very recently on by a handle that shares statistics. We had 0% probability for us going into recession, while the so-called first world nations had a recession kind of predicted. And one of the reasons that we have kind of been able to stay away from recession and the economic downturns is because of the diversity that we have. So that's what we need to ensure, that when we are hiring a team, don't hire a team just on the basis of language, right? A lot of times we are so stuck up that does this person speak great English, and then only will we hire him or her. Hire the people for the skill that they bring to the table. Hire the person for what is it that they're going to add to you, the experience they bring in. I'll share an example with you. I used to be in hotels, and I came across this individual who was an outstanding bartender, great at doing flair tending, phenomenal at the work, great at his mixology. But my F&B manager, I was the general manager at that time, and my F&B manager was not hiring that individual because his communication skills, and specifically his English skills, were not that good. So when I asked him, why are you not hiring this individual who's got so much to bring to the table, who's a Guinness Book World Record holder for flaring, and why are you not bringing that person on the table? Oh sir, his English is not good. And for me, that was a breaking moment, right? Means it kind of tells me that there is some gap in my culture, and there's some gap in what we're doing. Whilst, in hospitality, communication plays a big role, but we only don't have English-speaking persons. We have people coming in who speak multiple languages. So you have to have an open mind on how you can leverage the individual for their skills. And we brought that person on board, and he was one of our stars in the bar that we had opened, a nightclub that was opened during my tenure out there, and he did phenomenally well. And that's the key, an open mind. As long as we have an open mind, Shefali, I think there's so much that we can bring to the table, and it's important that we do that and take away the biases that sit within us. And it's unfortunate, but these biases sit within us. And you'll see that even when the interactions come in, we have sometimes a subservient nature when we are interacting somebody with a white skin. Now, that in a way is racial discrimination, and you're kind of eliminating diversity from everything that we do. So, yeah, we need to be careful about that. Let's see if there's anything else that comes our way in terms of questions. All right. I don't see any other questions coming in. So, yeah, just to kind of wrap up for today, remember, it's very, very important that you keep diversity in your mind, in your strategy. Get the hows on how you're going to make it happen through the inclusion, but ensure that you're giving everybody equity, wherein depending on the need, you're giving them the platform to perform. You're inspiring them to perform towards success. And the moment you're able to get this puzzle of diversity, equity, and inclusion solved and into play, you will see tremendous success that will come your way in your corporate life, in your professional life as a leader. And do not hold any biases on who can lead, who cannot lead. Keep your mind open, keep your heart open, and make this part of your strategy to work. So until next time, do take care and see you back at Narcissus Speaks. Bye-bye.